That we are at a tie match at the trial. Double gen pop to avoid the deadlock. They do go down. There is a haste status effect. They do have to be careful here. The hatch is going to spawn momentarily. Dead Hard could get them the distance to get it too. Smart shot.
Really smart play on the ace. Oh my god, getting shot through the window.
No longer have distortion, and they are going to teleport here. I think they get there in time. Yes!
Oh, the grab. Yes! That is disappointing.
This is be a 4-man out because.
Yeah, but they will be able to block this. Yo, getting caught on that. Ace coming with the body block. Oh, they were here.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, entities of the Fogs themselves. We are back once again with Champs of the Fog Season 5, and we are here today joined by the Pug King for the final match of Group B.
What a match. Iconic versus Chronicles. We saw yesterday they really come out swinging, wanting to get into this final. We see Squirrel turning up with a Spirit versus Chronicles Nurse on this map. Almost identical, apart from the fact that one was a Blight, one we saw from the previous games. But myself and Gilt were talking before the game, and I think it's really down to the killer picks that they choose these maps who will be successful to take this final, because Father Campbell's Chapel's map, I've lost the ability to speak. We saw that the killer pick was instrumental in one of the win and two very evenly match sides, and we see Ace found early on and taking a first hit as Squirrel pursues them.
And a really quick down there from the Spirit. Very well executed, to say the least. Corrupt Intervention not even halfway expired. And we are going to see the first hook happen. And it is, in fact, a Scourge Hook Pain Resonance.
Yep, and we've seen how successful that was on previous games, and Squirrel has come out swinging with that early down. Is a great start from him. Sees this gen progressing really well, stops to give it a little kick, and then continues to chase. You see the Survivor in the background as he's spinning around, scratch marks everywhere, but undecided where he's going, and going back to the gen, I think, is a smart move.
Yeah, we saw there Gen highlighted in yellow, and Survivor's very keenly aware of the existence of Overcharge. So that means that there is, in fact, an eruption. Spirit going for a bit of mind game, successfully applying pressure onto the Meg, and thinking that there came into pallet, but looks like Meg has all but disappeared into the distance.
Yep, we see them scratch marks. I think Squirrel is cutting them off at the pass. Amazing stuff. Reading the game really well. Reading them scratch marks. Apply thought he had got away, but was caught wanting from Squirrel as he came out, and that's the first hook for Apply.
Yeah, honestly, really good showing here from the Spirit thus far. We were talking earlier on who do I think has advantage in going into this matchup, and I think it really is dependent on this killer here. If the Spirit can outperform or perform as well as the Nurse in the upcoming trial, I think that Iconic has a very good shot of taking this match.
Yeah, I think the Spirit, just from an S-Killer point of view, is just as able to float around and traverse the map to really keep that gen pressure up, as we've seen. 2 hooks, not a gen done, Apply on hook. I think you're right, it will be down to the killer, but it's who plays that character the strongest, and we've seen both of these killers playing the Nurse and the Spirit very well so far, especially in yesterday's games.
Yeah, absolutely. We see the Spirit trying to force the second stage here on the Meg, phasing around real quick, trying to bait these Survivors to come in for the unhook. Though it looks like they will, in fact, secure the second stage. Time is ticking down, and sure enough, there it is. The Meg just 1 hook away from being sent back to the campfire via the entity.
Yeah, that applies that extra bit of pressure we were talking about to the survivors. We see the first gen done, but everything seems to be falling Squirrel's way at the moment as he interrupts another gen that was progressing well, as maintains chase with Cookie, but a nice long wall for them and doing well to waste valuable time. I don't know how long before Squirrel will give up the chase and then go back to the gens, and I think that's no, he's pursuing and still going. Really wants that and comes out and swings, but gets the pallet down, but gets the hit off first. Good play by Squirrel.
Yeah, absolutely. Really great job there by the Spirit, getting the hit through the pallet, forcing the Nia back into this column tile here, and looks like they will get the down at the pallet as Eruption will damage 2 generators for a collective 18 seconds of regression.
Yeah, and that was a key. That's really going to help Squirrel keep applying that pressure and really punishing the survivors who happen to be camping around the pallet. He is blitzing through them with a swing and gilling it off every time. We've seen him do that twice now and has paid off. And I think he sees someone else in Shack and is listening for them audio cues and has found someone else. And great play as he gets Ace, who makes a mistake and leaps over the pallet and manages to get a cheeky little tap on him and breaks the chase again.
Yeah, absolutely. We see Spirit kind of trying to manage 2 separate gens here, a gen in Shack, the gen here as well. Really going to be dependent on whether or not these survivors can hit their difficult skill checks from the overcharge. And we do see them once again going to progress the survivor to 2nd stage. And it's looking more and more like they are going to secure it as time is ticking down on the Nia's hook stage.
Yeah, it's a good position. Great pressure from Squirrel. We see Ace there coming to try and prevent that and try and lead Squirrel away. I think well, I was hoping he wasn't legging out there, but was faking the phase to see if there was anyone else lurking. Did well and is continuing that chase as Cookie goes on and progresses to 2nd hook. And Ace has doubled back and hopefully will get enough time for one of the teammates to go over and get Cine off that hook.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so far it's been an amazing show here by the Spirit time and time again. Ace trying to use their built-in Iron Will to evade the Spirit's phase walk, but unsuccessful in doing so as the Spirit will down him for the 2nd time. Now Ace, Meg, and Nia all on death hook. The only one yet to be found is the Zarina.
Yeah, and a flurry of gens, or should I just say 2, just went off and pinged just as Ace went onto the hook. They are fully reset and healed. Let's see what's happened as I can't see who that is,
but
there being
is
chased
the
around.
Zarina, and this is actually the exact thing the Spirit wanted to see. Unfortunately, not given a hit at that pallet though will successfully do so off the phase.
Yeah, why would you dress Serena like that? That's just sacrilege. Anyway, back to the game. Got pallet down, blocking the Spirit and doing well again to eat every second they can. But Squirrel is playing so well as the Spirit, but Chronicles are also playing well as the Survivor team by still cranking out them objectives. And we see Zarina trying to bait the Spirit round to waste up valuable time. That's the first time he's phased out and missed that hit. But we are going into the corner to waste even more time as the inevitable happens as Jingle Box goes down.
Yeah, no, really amazing play there by the Spirit and Survivor alike. The Zarina doing a fantastic job of evading the Spirit in their phase walk, extending the chase just by a little bit more. But want to note that all Survivors have been fresh hooked. If in instance they're able to secure the 2nd stage on the Zarina, that means that at most Survivors are going to be able to get 14 points on the escape. And I'm sensing that they are going to be able to get this 5th generator, though that missed skill check there is going to be very detrimental to their ability to escape.
Yeah, absolutely. You saw 2 on there. I think it just gave away that they could regret that. Sometimes the anxiety and pressure of finals get to you a little bit, that you make a silly mistake like that. But they could recover. We can guarantee that Survivor went back to that gen to see if they can polish it off before the spirit returns, but Squirrel making sure by hooking near that gen. Can we see the survivor back on it?
Yeah,
No.
we can. And
Oh, they are.
there's
There
the
they are.
Nia, but looks like we are going to get that kick in. That 10% regression may have actually been the deciding factor on that generator, as it regressed it by 9 seconds. Really unfortunate here for the survivors, though Nia will end up getting a little bit of distance here, as we also see Zarina still broken from what is likely to be a deliverance.
Yeah, doing well. A good start for Spirit. We do see another gen. This is going to be a really close game. I still can't call it. It could snowball in Squirrel's favor. He's playing incredibly well. But we see Chronicles Survivor side playing incredibly well as well, and distracting and pulling away. And the survivors just seem to be everywhere at this stage. But Nia looks like she's about to go down. And there she is.
I mean, keen-eyed viewers may have noticed all 3 survivors. We saw this arena crossing over towards this gen here on the left. In fact, we may have just saw this arena behind one of the obstacles. We saw the Meg as well, making its way back to that progress gen, and it looks like the Spirit is concerned about it enough to go back and interrupt the progression, if at all possible.
Yeah, and the survivor's staying on it. Did he see that? Just behind, I'm pretty sure. Oh, I thought it was. My eyes may be deceiving me. I am a boomer after all. But the Spirit is out there. You see the scratch marks and the survivor in the difference. The way Squirrel is surveying the field to ensure he doesn't miss a trick is just sublime, and a really good game brain here. And I think he's going to go and pursue a play that he saw in the distance. Oh, it just comes out of nowhere with a slap as we talk about heading towards a play. His sixth sense as a Spirit is honing in and is really playing well to put the maximum amount of pressure on these survivors.
Yeah, and with both of them injured, those grunts of pain are going to be exemplified. So Spirit has a lot of information working for them here, and trying to see if maybe these survivors are resetting off in the distance, but unable to locate them. And we do see those Zarina there in the corner. That is huge, as Zarina has a hook state to give. These survivors, their points are just slipping through their fingers bit by bit.
I'm going to comment, you really do have the eyes of a hawk. How far away was that Zarina that you could see, especially with that ugly green jacket on, blending into the distance? But there she is, and Squirrel saw it and goes down. No respect for the pallet, hits through it, comes down in time, but does the work, and Jingle Box goes down, but he's going to lead them, and the hunt for a play now commences.
It looked like there was a missed skill check from the survivor. Spirit looking around in the corners to see if they can find the Meg, and successfully does, though, behind the main building. This here could result in a 4K unless there is an unbreakable from the Zarina. Mind you, they were the one with the deliverance, so very likely an unbreakable is in hand.
Yeah, we could see it, but apply, I was just waiting. Is he going to go for it? Is he not? Fluting back to see and pick up on your rights. There's the unbreakable there. Jingle Box has leapt up, knew that Squirrel was coming back to get him, but I think it's only a matter of time as they are in his target eyes here, and it's going to be tough to get out of that. Although a cheeky slap down is not going to make it easy for Squirrel to catch them as the play heads off into this complex loop.
However, Spirit will successfully get the down. No other second chance perk in hand. No deliverance, no unbreakable. This here will secure at the minimum a 3K11 hook here for the Spirit. Even if they're not able to find the Meg, a bleed out will result in full points.
Yeah, this is a great start for Iconic. Squirrel has come out and stapled what they want to do. But we saw this yesterday with Chronicles that had a much tougher win objective from last year, which we thought from yesterday, which we thought they may struggle to, but really came out strong from a killer perspective and dominated to take that win. Be interesting to see if they're able to replicate that. I think it was on this map with a nurse, so I'm excited to see that. But good job by Squirrel, and good job from the survivors. They managed to get 4 gens out with such a strong play from the killer. I'm looking forward to this, Gil.
Yeah, absolutely. With that being said, that there is the 4K at 4 gens completed. with Iconic and Chronicles. We are going to be switching sides, though, as Chronicles will be piling the Nurse once again on the gold tower against Iconic Survivor team. With that being said, we are going to go on a quick break before we do load up into that lobby. So as a reminder, you, the viewers here today, are our sponsors, so that as they watch, all the bits they tip, all the subs they buy, and of course all the Rogue Energy you buy using the code COTF goes supporting James and Fog and our prize pools for Group A and Group B. With that being said, we'll be back in just a bit. right, and we are back for trial number 2 of set number 1, Chronicles vs. Iconic. And we are about to see Chronicles Nurse vs. Iconic Survivor team, where they are going to need to get a 4K at 3 gens completed in order to secure a win. Anything more than that will either result in a draw or a loss to Chronicles. And I think with FCC, the way it's set up, I think Chronicles needs to claim victory in set 1. What do you think here?
Yeah, I think the same. The killer choice for Father Campbell's Chapel is going to be pivotal. I think the challenge ahead of Chronicles Killer, or the pressure that they must be feeling, I would have said immense if I hadn't seen Hex Nurse yesterday absolutely dominate and had much stricter win conditions, as already discussed. But let's see how they get on, because Iconic's Survivor team are no pushover either, as we see multiple Survivor and scratch marks around the map. I've seen 3. I think I'm developing guilt-like powers with my eyes because I can see them across the map, or maybe I just turned up my contrast. Overall, it's effective, and there we see, is that no, my eyes aren't that good, but first,
that
miss.
is indeed the Nia there, a near miss there on that second blink. Mind you, we saw 3 survivors. We saw the Adam, we saw the Nia. I want to say we saw the Claude as well at the very beginning of this match, so we know where all 3 are. However, there's that 4th survivor, that 4th unknown factor that I fear for the Nurse might be on a gen as we speak, and as we are approaching that 90-second mark, we might see a gen pop off here.
Yeah, we would hope, but is that the gen? We see the scratch marks going, and there is Adam in the distance as well. They're hunched up together, so they were doubled up on that gen. A second miss from Heck, but maybe it's just settling the nerves there, getting ready, or just a coincidence that he's missed twice there. But we should start seeing a bit more action. The first gen going has gone back to ensure that he didn't get double pinged as Claudette takes a smack and is pursued.
Yeah, really good play there. Unfortunately, though, a light getting away just barely. The Nurse was on top of them. I was ready to say, unfortunately for the Claude, they're going to end up going down, but the Nurse just unable to secure it, as Claude will once again get by narrowly through that gap, and the Nurse just struggling to get it down here.
Yeah, just needs to take a couple of deep breaths, resettle themselves, and start believing in them. Otherwise, this will get in their head. Has to get Claudette down on this. Can't miss again. But, an awkward blink. We're seeing soon. Campta over the pallet. No, really struggling to get that down, but is essential it gets it down pretty quick. Claudette knowing that she is, and doing well to shimmy round that small unsafe tile as she's managed to get away and get back again, but eventually comes a cropper.
Yeah, I mean, the Claudette did an amazing job using the outskirts of the map, and I think that's one of the things that a lot of survivors forget about when playing against the Nurses. Sometimes the strongest portion aren't the normal tiles, sometimes it's the edges of the map where they have all those little bits of obstacles that really hinder the Nurse's ability to blink. However, Nurse finding the Adam, getting a very quick hit there off the hook. And that is going to be huge here, as they need some pressure as soon as possible, and they are getting just that.
And here we see Heck building it up again, a second down in quick succession. Some good play, putting Squirrel on that particular hook. Sin is now off, 2 gens done, 2 hooks. I still can't call how this is going to finish out, as we see Heck start to improve his hit game as he's blinking. Just testing themselves, wiggling up and down as she searches for the next survivor, which we see.
We see the Claudette there once again. This is actually a fantastic find. However, the Claudette definitely gave him a lot of issues earlier, though this time around getting a very quick hit. Light coming out from the Claudette, trying to make a little bit of distance, but the Nurse does not care, as they will shorten their blink right on top of the Claudette and get the down.
Oh, the unpredictability of that Claudette, swinging and spinning around, trying to use the obstacles, but Heck managed to... What's that, a decisive just kicked in? I think it was, and off she goes again, utilizing the time very well, as Claudette is sucking away the time for this Nurse, give the survivors more time to do their objectives. I would expect a gen to go anytime now. Gilt, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's very likely. However, I want to notice all 3 of these hooks have been Scourge Hook Pain Resonances. We've seen the Scorpion pop up time and time again. And so very likely the most progressed gens keep on getting chipped down bit by bit. And even more so now as we are about to see a Pop Goes the Weasel applied to that generator, as well as it being highlighted in yellow, potentially a Colubrine or a Eruption.
Play, it was just about to go, and Claudette unfortunately has been found again, and I don't think it's going to be too long. Their surviving teammates trying to distract with the flashlight and disrupt her blink, but wasn't good enough as we see Flicks go down, and I think that's Death Hook, isn't it?
Yeah, that is indeed, and that is a thorn out of the side of that nurse, as this Claudette was playing very well in that initial chase. Now those survivors kind of on their back foot as they now have to go into a 3v1 scenario with 2 more gens that they need to complete in order to just secure the tie. 3 gens to complete in order to secure the win, and these gens have been getting hit time and time again from Eruption, Pop Goes the Weasel, and Scourge Hook Pain Resonance.
Yeah, doing very well to keep that pressure alive on the surviving team. I still can't call it with that, but 4th survivor going out with leaving only 3 is even making the task more difficult, even though it is just 2 gens to draw. I don't know what's going to happen, but we just see the nurse gliding around the map, making sure that that progression is taken off every gen, increasing the chances to find a survivor and take another one out of the game.
Yeah, absolutely, and we see them kind of checking every single gen, applying Eruption time and time again. We did not see them apply it there on that main gen, but this gen here has some decent progress. Scratch marks too, leading the nurse away, and a 3rd generator popping off. They now just need 1 more in order to secure the tie set.
And Squirrel taking a hit and is now pursued. The captain going into this jungle gym. Scratch marks everywhere, but the nurse struggling to blink through the wall, just got caught on the side. Is that enough for Squirrel to escape? No, just sees them out the corner of the eye, but doing well. And a miss, an important one, as Squirrel belts off into the night, celebrating quickly.
Yeah, between that misfire and that dodge there, those were huge. However, the generator popping off as they do get down. That may have been an erupted gen that they just narrowly evaded. It is now a tie set. At the most, the nurse can only tie the set now between Chronicles and Iconic. In the instance that they get 1 more generator, though, Iconic will walk away victorious in set number 1, setting up for a potential victory in set number 2.
Absolutely, and what a game. We saw Squirrel turn up as a excellent spirit. Heck has been doing well, but the survivor team for Iconic, if we can take that Matar is probably off somewhere doing a gen, if these 2, Squirrel and I can't even pronounce that name, do enough to distract, they take that game by doing that last all-important gen. What do you think is going to happen, Gil?
It's hard to say. I mean, the nurse kind of has a little bit of a loose 3-gen here. We see the Adam trying to take attention away from the nurse. We see what could be a deliverance there from the Nia as well, giving pressure back to the survivors. And I think nurse is concerned about that gen in the distance, just as I am. The nurse has not really ventured over there in a hot minute. I think you're right, the Jake probably on that gen, and it is pretty well progressed from what we can hear.
Yeah, struggle to get through there. We can't see where Jake, the scratch marks are off. You're right, it was really far on the progression. We knew that something may have been amiss where we hadn't seen him, and we saw that Squirrel and the Nia were playing a distracting game and trying to suck up the time, but back on the Nia again, and another important miss that must be getting on the nerves of Heck coming out of that, and just a little bit too out of grasp for some of these hits.
Yeah, Nia, though, trying to go for that locker play, unable to do so successfully, as we do see 2 eruptions pop off back-to-back. That there resulting in 18 seconds of regression, and we see the nurse trying to drag the Nia into this gen area here to really put the pressure onto these survivors. However, no survivor to be seen, and I'm afraid that Jake and Adam might be on that other gen.
Yeah, I mean, the wise call would be to get as far away from that, even though a lot of progression. Smart move by Heck to carry Nia across, but saved, which means the survivor must have been over there and chose not to, and basically COD. But giving away where they are by taking that hook so early, you thought they would have got back on that gen that was close to the hook as a different tactic, but what do I know?
Yeah, I mean, realistically speaking, they're really putting the pressure here on the nurse. They understand the win condition and know they just need this last generator. They're being very aggressive on the hooks to kind of force the nurse's hand. However, Pop Goes Weasel has been instrumental to the success of the nurse here, as Jake tries to hide from the nurse behind that tree. Unsuccessful in doing so, though. The nurse might get a quick down here, which would be hugely detrimental to these survivors.
I wonder how long he was been hiding behind that tree. I'd say that was his space for a while. It's given away. The act is out. Jake is down. I think this is his first hook. But it's... Oh, there it is! There is the last gen that Iconic wanted. Just as Jake went down, there was a little bit of play and distraction. I thought that was where they were focusing, but in true Iconic style were so well drilled over the other side of the map and get that last gen off.
Yeah, really amazing job there by the survivors, playing to a T. And that will be the two-man escape for Iconic Survivor Team, granting them the W for set number 1, as we are now going to be moving to set number 2 on Father Campbell's Chapel, where Chronicles will be bringing the Blight against Iconic Survivor Team. It comes down to this: will Chronicles get the set 2 victory, or will Iconic sweep with the 2-0 and take first place of Group B?
What a game. What an end result. Iconic played very well. Heck played well as a nurse, but Iconic were better. Putting a staple in the ground to say, we are here to take part, not take part, we're here to take over. Oh, I messed that line up. It would sound so good. But if Heck is going in and playing by on Father Campbell's Chapel, we know that's going to be a bit of a struggle. We saw the Blight getting caught on so many different things in our first game, and having that loss in their head going into that needs to shake themselves down to make sure that they step it up, because they're killing first. But exciting stuff. I can't wait to see what happens.
Absolutely. With that being said, though, we are going to be back in just a little bit. But before we do go on a quick break, we remind everyone here today that we are partnered with Pugdom, where the Pug King himself hosts a litany of different competitive events, from tournaments, leagues, and more. But even better yet, they do host the Group B of Champions of the Fog, and will be doing so again for Season 6 in February. With that being said, definitely make sure to stop on by, say hi, drop a follow, and join their Discord too. But we'll see you in just a bit. right, and we are back for set number 2, Iconic versus Chronicles. And we are going to the Father Campbell's Chapel, where Chronicles Blight will be going up against Iconic Survivor Team. It's going to be a bit of an uphill battle, I imagine, as Blight, I don't know, I am not sure if Blight is the right choice on FCC. I feel like that verticality, especially in main, is going to be difficult for Blight to maneuver around, as well as just a lot of different obstacles here and there that the Blight might end up getting caught on. But who knows, maybe Heck will show us what they're able to do and really show that Blight is comp viable on this map.
Yeah, we seem to see Blight picked a lot whenever this map is on the pick rotors, and you kind of understand why there's a lot of stuff to bump off, but when you bump off you have to avoid it as well, and we've seen it not be as slick as traversing around with a nurse. So I think this might come down to, if both killers turn up, the actual killer pick, and Squirrel has been performing as well as Heck, but with the nurse having that advantage to almost turn any situation into a free gem because of the size of the map and how easy it is to transfer across the map. I don't know. It's a really tough one to call. Let's see what happens. We did see Jake peg it out the window, but the Blight has ignored it and is focusing on keeping the pressure up on the gens as we see another survivor go into Shack. I don't know if that was intentionally running down into the basement or just slid down there. Either what, it was entertaining.
Probably not. I think they're trying to go for a bounce into a slide to try and get that hit on a survivor, but we do see those gens highlight in yellow, and based on the way the Blade is playing, this is very likely a eruption. Once again, trying to go for a hit on these survivors here, unable to do so successfully, as we do see, I believe, both Nia and the Jake trying to crank out that main generator. No bounce landing seen thus far, but looks like the Nia here will be taking chase with Blight.
Yeah, dropping the pallet early to try and force that Blight to go the long way round, but manages to do well and get a hit off Nia as she waits the other side, goes into animation, tries to make it across to the next tile. Good strategy bringing him towards the corrupted gen to ensure that their teammates are, but just as I said that, it just finished, so pointless.
Yeah, really well played there by the Blight, using their surroundings to their advantage, and we do see a eruption popping off there. 2 survivors incapacitated for the next 25 seconds is huge for this Blight, as those gens are also regressed by another 15% from that Scourge of Pain Resonance.
Yeah, and we've seen that time and time again. Used at the most important times, has changed the game, being able to block survivors to do stuff for 25 seconds. It's such a powerful perk. But again, finding another survivor, but hoping to get a premeditated swing, but just the luck isn't with them because they've missed several times doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. However, going back to the hook here, we could see a potential tunnel out attempt on this Nia, and it looks like exactly that. 10 seconds counting down. Can the Blight and Nia count to 10? And Blight with a narrow miss there as Nia will drag him further into the carnival.
Just a stretch, nearly caught him, but got her just as she's trying to get over there. We see the first gen go. Probably expect another one. We haven't seen the Claudette, so whether they're over the other side or not, cranking that out. But yeah, good pressure so far.
Yeah, I do want to point out there, though, no Scourge of Pain Resonance, and that actually will cost them, as they are able to get that main gen successfully completed without any real interruption from that Blight. If it was a Scourge Hook, that may have been a different story. So survivors really rallying back here as they've gotten 2 gens completed, and it looks like we will see another Pop Goes a Weasel on the Shack gen.
Yeah, really important for the killer. You could see the progress on that Shack gen was really high. Pop giving him that leverage, needs to make it back over the other side to try and get that Nia out the game to apply more pressure to the survivors, because the survivors are communicating well and managing to upload them or work on them objectives very efficiently.
Yeah, Claudette coming in, trying to go for that body block. Blight taking the swing early to try and deny them value. I imagine Claudette will even offer their down, but Nia getting fat shamed, not realizing they couldn't go through that rock. Claudette, though, is around here with that flashlight, and that could prove very detrimental as there might be a two-man slug here, but Blight getting caught up on all sorts of obstacles, and looks like they are going to not pick them up as Claudette has been successfully found.
Yeah, Claudette waiting around. I suspect maybe there was a decisive play there because it was weird how Nia just paused. Oh, well, that was Unbreakable that come up there. Strange to use it there with the killer right in your grasp.
Well,
Look,
I think they realized there was no way of escaping the Blight, so they might as well take the chance as they were a little bit confused. That makes me think that the Nia also may have been their Deliverance. Deliverance very commonly paired with that Unbreakable. Our Survivors not going down without a fight. 2 more gens completed. Even with a 4K here, I think the Nurse following up next match might be able to overcome this win condition.
Yeah, I mean, it depends how they turn up, right? It's the player as well as the killer, but doing well. Survivors well-oiled, 4 gens done. If Blighty manages to get off a 4K, it alleviates a bit more pressure off Squirrel when he turns up, and I'm presuming he's the one going to be playing Nurse for the next game.
I believe you are correct. We do see the Blight hunting for a very specific survivor. I imagine the injured Claudette for another potential tunnel out, but finding the Jake instead, getting the hit towards Shaq building, and looks like the Blight opting to instead get used out of their Pop Goes Weasel. Not a lot of value, mind you, but we will see Eruption applied once again.
Yeah, and I don't think... How many fresh hooks do we have left on the team?
So
who is
at
the
this
target?
point in time, I think there's still 2 fresh hooks. Nia was the one to take the first 3. Claudette the one thereafter. So Adam and Jake are still fresh as we speak. They're going to want to hook them as quickly as possible. However, Adam getting the heal off in the face of the Blight, just unable to get there in time as they will once again injure the Jake, and looks like they will be going towards Shaq with them.
Yeah, and it's really important. And there's that tactic you were talking about yesterday, trying to make them slip round, but didn't work as Jake looks like they're going down, not into the basement, but just outside, making it easier to patrol. But that was important to make sure that if there are escapes, try and take them fresh hooks out of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. So now Blight, I imagine, will be out on the prowl for the Adam. We did see a Scourge Hook Pain Resonance there, so once again, regressing the most progressed gen by a total of 15%. Though there's a bit of a 2-1 split here, and I think the Blight is concerned about these gens back in Carnival as they are looking around and do successfully find the Claudette here.
Yeah, I mean, the Survivor, I'm presuming that one is over the back side of the map. The Blight is not in a good position, even though there's only 3 survivors left. And Claudette is wasting valuable time, and I'm not hoping, I would imagine that Iconic would have over there. The Blight must be concerned about that gen as well.
Yeah, absolutely. However, Claudette going down at the Carnival. This is going to be huge, as if they have a Scourge Hook Pain Resonance here, they're going to be able to regress the most progressed gen by 15%, but no Scourge Hook. Once again, we saw this with the main building. I think the one by Shaq might pop off here before they are able to get there in time.
Yeah, he's leaping across like a leopard to try and get it. There's no one working on it.
Yeah, that's a bit surprising, I'm not gonna lie, and I think the Blight, confused by that too, is kind of scratching their head going, excuse me?
I think we were all confused. It was like we were waiting for it to be popped off, the dramatic finish to the game as Iconic sprint off, but no one was working on it, which means they're probably around here somewhere, and that enables the Blight to turn that around. I think that may have been a mistake because there was a lot of time wasted down this side of the fence and had ample time to get that gen completed if the other 2 survivors were over there, as we see the Blight head back over again.
Yeah, now with this 2v1 scenario and Pop Goes a Weasel in hand, this becomes more and more difficult for these remaining survivors. So it looks like they are potentially going to have to go for a hatch escape instead. If they were going to play to that out, they're going to need to hide the Adam more so than the Jake. And it looks like, though, the Blight has successfully found the Jake after all.
Yeah, and down goes the firecracker to disrupt, but a little bit of a waste. Maybe should have waited a little bit there. But you're right, Adam is a fresh hook. It would make sense to go out. It'd be difficult to get that last gen off. Unless this Jake can do some juicing right now and keep the Blight busy for a long time. But alas, no. Goes down and we see the alert go off in the distance behind where the Blight obviously knows where Adam's located, I presume.
Yeah, and so far, no real sign of the Atom. We see the Blight slugging out, kind of what we were expecting here. Mind you, if in the instance that Jake does bleed out, that'll be a loss of 1 point for the Blight. However, I want to note here, this gen was erupted, and now will be erupted and popped, and that means that the Atom must have touched the gen after the down, and that means Blight is going to comb through this area and try and suss out where this Atom might be.
Yeah, he's definitely got the information that he was located down there. But going back, seeing if there is a pickup, hoping that someone was on the gen there, but I think you're right. I think this is a hatch play game. I don't think they're even going to waste their time doing that gen.
Yeah, this is very reminiscent of the nurse match on Cold Tower that we saw in the last match against Prophecy in Tribute. And I think we're going to see a very similar circumstance here as we have 3 minutes on the clock. However, Adam getting greedy, trying to work on that gen, and the Blight realizes it. And so here is the final chase.
I think that was a mistake by Squirrel. He should have stayed hidden, and we know we've seen him do it before, but you're right, trying to get out there. I think that was a mistake that he may regret, because it looks like the Blight is going to end up with their 4K.
Yeah, unfortunately, though, getting that vacuum pallet from underneath the Atom, unfortunately unable to get the down. However, Shaq here very weakened at this point in time, and it looks like we are going to get the grab out of the locker, securing at the very least the 3K, though. I'm trying to remember, we did see Deliverance already, correct?
Yes, I think we did. I was thinking the same thing. We're going to see some magical play. He is on the right side of Shaq. He's going to go back and hook the other one. Be funny if he did get that Deliverance off and escape with 2 hooks still intact. But alas, we're not going to see that. You see that going through now. He just needs to find this survivor.
Yeah, this is going to be actually really important. Like I said, it's going to be 1 point, but the 1 point might just matter. And there's less than 2 minutes on that bleed out timer now. Blight trying desperately to find them, but not successful in doing so far. It's an insane thought, but there is a very real possibility that Jake has made their way towards Shaq, or at least is in the process of doing so.
That is an insane thought, but I like it because we're both insane. So hopefully that would make for good viewing entertainment if somehow Matar has managed to crawl their way over and Squirrel keep themselves alive and then perfectly time it for a sliver down hatch. That would be seriously impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to say I may have heard the Jake earlier, but the Blight may have not. It's hard to say, but we do see Crows. Crows swing back there in that corner. Blight seen it too, and sure enough, there's the blood trail from the Jake. The Crows once again showing the killer exactly where they are.
I don't know how they do it. I didn't see any Crows there, but play. They gave them away again as Matar goes onto the hook. A 4K, a good recovery for the Blight. It was looking a bit anxious there for a second that the survivors may actually get that 5th and maybe a couple escape. But heck, not giving up, persevering, and ends up with a 4K for Gen. Squirrel now have to come back with a nurse and prevent them from doing that to take the win. Or if they draw, they still go through. Is that right, Gil?
Yeah, so that is exactly what we're seeing here. Because Iconic took set number 1, all Iconic's nurse is going to need is a 4K at 4 gens in order to secure victory for the match overall. So a really, really good opportunity here for Iconic's nurse. However, if Chronicles Survivor team is able to crank out that 5th generator, we will be seeing them go to a set 3. But Only time will tell. And before we do jump into that next lobby, we are going to go on a quick break. Before we do, though, we do want to remind everyone here today that you, yes, you the viewers, are our sponsors, so that as they watch all the bits they tip, all the subs they buy, and of course all the rogue energy that you buy using the code COTF goes to supporting Champions of the Fog and our prize pools for Group A and Group B. With that being said, we'll be back in just a bit. Welcome back to Champs of the Fog, and we are here for what could be the final trial of this match. Iconic's Nurse is going to be up against Chronicles survivors on the Father Campbell's Chapel, and these survivors are going to need to complete 5 generators against this nurse. If they are unable to do so, Iconic will walk away victorious, taking the first place spot for Group B in Season 5. What do you think here, King? Are they going to be able to make it happen?
I want them to, because I want to see a third set. I mean, it was a very, very strong killer. There have been some great games, but I think the nurse is going to have that competitive edge on this map, being able to glide 5 gens. If Squirrel turns up and plays as nurse, have we seen him over and over again? I think it's a tough job for Chronicles to get that win objective. But look, it is DBD, it is comp. We always see the strangest things happen. It is final day, let's see. But the first survivor has been found, and Ace flashes in front of them as Squirrel takes an early hit against his rival Heck.
Yeah, we'll see here Ace once again doing a fantastic job using those objects on the edges of the map to their advantage. However, Ace just unable to keep the chase going as the nurse will successfully get the down. And this here will be the first hook, I think within the first minute or so of this match, as Corruption Intervention has now been deactivated.
Yeah, a good start from Squirrel, getting that first hook on Heck, as we said. But look, that doesn't mean the game's over. It is the first hook. There are 5 gens. There's 3 other survivors. I'm looking forward to see. I'm not going to lie. I'm pretty excited about what's going to happen now. First gen. We saw a very quick hook, and then we see that gen pop off. So the pressure is on both at this moment in time.
Yeah, and a really great job from the survivors, definitely doubling up on that gen. 55 seconds taken in total. Our Zarina taking it there, and we do see the 1-for-1 trade on the Zarina. Very likely a deliverance there, as they will now go for the timeout on the Ace. Unbreakable going to be key here, but Ace needs to stay upright for long enough for it to matter.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good play, and I think you're right about that deliverance play. But we see Heck go down again, and Squirrel is determined to get a survivor as quickly as possible out the game, and is really succeeding in that objective as Heck goes on for the second. But we see Jinglebox manage to get themselves up. We don't know if it's an Unbreakable player or another survivor, but we see the scratch marks just below her and someone in the distance. Hopefully it's not Jinglebox.
Yeah, that there is, in fact, the Zarina. And do want to point out, we did see a second set of scratch marks going for the pickup. So it's possible that they may have saved a Unbreakable if there was one. However, Zarina now down on the ground. Third hook of the match coming in. And these survivors already on their back foot here as the nurse is absolutely dominating thus far.
Yeah, we knew that the nurse pick for this particular map, being able to glide through main building easily, traverse up and down, and get from one side of the map quickly, had that advantage over other killers that we've seen coming in there. And Nia now goes down in a wasted flashbang, or firecracker, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, we did see something really interesting there, that there was a For the People from the Nia onto the Ace, and a deliverance from the Zarina as well. So as to be expected, based on that really aggressive unhook earlier, and now the survivors kind of in a decent position. Though there are 4 hooks in on 1 gen completed, they at least have reclaimed a little bit of pressure here.
Yeah, and spreading that out, it's about whether they can use it and not let that strong start of 4 hooks go across. A important miss as Ace is there, but he'll be looking to get him out the game. So I would expect a little bit longer to try and enforce this on, because that will then return the pressure back in the killer's favor. But seems to have lost them. Ace has vanished.
I was about to say, Ace pulled in a Houdini, all but disappearing, and the nurse, unable to find them, is actually going to go back over to the unhook for the Nia.
What a better place to pull a Houdini than at the carnival. But that was great play by Ace, as the nurse has given up, but see scratch marks Was that Ace who's teleported? No, but you see what I mean about gliding into main and then back again. It really applies that pressure, and they stopping the survivors from getting them gens off quickly. But the spread of gens, they're quite far apart. I can't see an obvious 3 gen. Oh, the pop there as Jinglebox goes down just as he pops that gen.
Yeah, honestly, really good play there. Honestly, even though they gave up that second hook stage, they still got another gen completed. They only need to get 3 more gens, but both Ace and Serena are that much closer to being sent back to the campfire via the entity, so these survivors are definitely gonna have to be a little bit careful as the Ada takes a hit out of nowhere.
I think that surprised the nurse just as much as it surprised us. Gone through the gen, Nia there to come in and try and take a hook as pursued there. The pressure is back on. You said only 3 gens, but with this nurse playing the way it is, that is a mammoth task as it is, but Nia trying to suck up as much nurse time as possibly can. But yeah, we could see this snowball unless they reset. Jinglebox and Cine both injured, and we would presume Heck is staying well out the way, trying to get a gen because he is on death hook.
Yeah, absolutely. We will see the Ada here, or sorry, Nia here on second hook. And this is going to mean that the Ace and Nia definitely in a bit of a tough position. I think Ada actually the only one not being hooked thus far.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I can't even call this at this period of time. We've got 3 gens. They need to do 2 to take that win. Squirrel gliding across, 6 hooks done. Apply on 1. I don't know. I can't call it. I wouldn't even put money on this one.
There's Blood's trail on the ground, though. That's its arena. We see the flashlight trying to slow things down, but the nurse missing on the hit. That fatigue gonna cost them just a little, as Arena will make a little bit of distance here. They're trying to use the outside of the map as a line sight blocker, successfully doing so too.
Yeah, and doing well to distract Squirrel. Hopefully there are no survivors on gens, but you can bet on it there will be, but is pursuing Jinglebox, trying to get him out, but swinging and missing, doing well to maximize the distance between herself and the nurse, and Jingle really wasting up some time, knowing the inevitable is going to happen, and takes that down at the corner and edge of the map. I would expect another gen to go any second now.
Yeah, we're probably hoping here, at least the nurse is, for a Scourge Hook, Pain Resonance incoming to regress the most progressed gen by 15%. However, no Scourge Hook there. We saw the same thing happen last time we were on FCC, and how it could prove very detrimental to the killer. However, we do see what looked to be an Ada there in the distance. Possibly possibly 2 survivors there, and Ada dodging back and forth, dodging the hit too. Honestly, not sure how that missed.
I think it was her Inspector Gadget coat that she was messing. I don't know what happened, but managed to shimmy away. And as you said, that is a complete fresh. But what Squirrel is trying to do is prevent the another 2 gens to be doing. Remember, if they do them too, that is the win objective that they need to take this set. And then we go on to a 3rd.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he knows there as the nurse was scanning. We did see scratch marks there going into Carnival. It's possible that the nurse saw him too, but more concerned about this gen here that Ada was on earlier. Do you want to note Survivor is keenly aware of Overcharge, by the way. However, they are hitting their skill checks every single time.
Absolutely well oiled. They have now reset. Everyone's fully healed. Sees Ada in the distance, trying to bait the nurse away from these gens here while they work on them. But where is Ace? We haven't seen him for some time.
Yeah, this is true. I mean, both Nia and Ace really holding out, trying to stay out of the line of sight of the nurse. Nurse trying to allow for Overcharge to just regress these 2 gens, almost creating their own 3 gen. Because as a reminder, even if Chronicles is able to tie this set, the victory will still go to Iconic. They need to get this 5th gen completed, and I think Nurse kind of realizing that, taking a moment to breathe, taking some time to think and going, okay, I just need to make sure these gens regress and we're good to go.
Yeah, I think that's a good call, trying to manufacture that 3 gen scenario to take that draw if they can 4K. There it is. now needs to make sure it stays the same. I'm not sure that it will. Ace there, we said he was elusive, but there he is, and it looks like he'll be taken out of the game, which will make getting that last gen, if he doesn't get him down quickly, which he has, even harder to do.
Yeah, that is actually huge, to say the least, as we also do see Eruption going off on the gens that the nurse had kicked. Note that only one gen actually regressed to that score event notification, means that the other one is dead to the world, and only that one in that LT wall is still active.
Yep. So there we go. 2 out, 2 left. 1 gen stands between the victory of Iconic or Chronicles fighting for their victory in a 3rd set. I can't call it, but the job is tough for the survivors as the nurse glides around and sees the alert and scratch marks of another survivor, but needs to also balance that up. Doesn't waste too much time where the other pair may be working on a gem, but I think this is the Ada.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Looks like got a glimpse of a survivor. Hard to say who it was, but looks like Nurse will take their time checking the gen in Carnival here. And looks like it has a little bit of progression, about 2 cylinders worth. And we are going to see another kick, once again, applying that overcharge and Eruption. These survivors kind of going to go back and forth, just baiting the Nurse and really ensuring that they're not able to commit to one chase or another.
Yeah, and I think we may see this. You hear the chase music initiate and trying to drag them over, but without seeing the survivor. Not checking the main gen, he's probably using the audio cues. I couldn't hear much progression done on it, but you see the Carnival one is pretty much done, and Ada trying to distract. I wonder where where Apply is.
Yeah, we saw the Ada there, but Nurse opting to move away, even with that gen as progressed as it is, hoping that they're able to find the Nia instead on this gen and get a quick down. However, these survivors on point with their communications, as we do see the Nia and Ada bounce back and forth very strategically, really just putting this Nurse in a very awkward position.
Yeah, I think you're right. The communication definitely is on point. Every time it goes over there, the survivor isn't there. And we see the working on the gen. The kick happens. Can't see where Cookie is. Having a quick glimpse. Paranoid that the other gen is going to be done and makes their way back. As I said, we could see this rinse and repeat for quite some time until one of them buckles or gets impatient.
Yeah, pretty much. And the Nurse trying to find this Ada, they're realizing that this corner of the map is where they want to find the survivor. It's actually really unfortunate that they gave up on that chase earlier, but at this point in time, they really are stuck between a rock and a hard place. And as long as the Ada stays out of line of sight, I think these survivors are going to get this 5th gen.
Yeah, I think so too. But look, I wouldn't place a bet on it. You never know what happened. There's scratch marks in the distance there. Choose to ignore him because needs to kick that gen too far away. But it's impressive how the survivors are communicating and getting out of the sight and hiding within time, because there's no scratch marks for the time to get over there, which means they're walking away from the particular. Oh, there's Ada and comes out. But I think you're right. If he sticks to one of them survivors, the other one is going to do that gen, and that is it. That we go to a 3rd set. The Squirrels decided to take this on.
Yeah, I was about to say, here's the hit on the Ada. The Nia needs to complete this gen before the chase ends. If they don't, Eruption's gonna pop, and there's the 10% regression.
And he's gonna go back, make sure this happens. I think we did see an Unbreakable, didn't we, with was it Jingle there on Death Hook, or was that previous game? Sometimes they merge into one, but I think they're in real problem now.
Yeah, I believe that was Jingle Box, especially with that Deliverance. Usually a good sign that they have the Unbreakable in hand. And now it comes down to them being able to stop this Nia from completing this last gen. I think they're doing the right thing here, going back and forth between these 2 gens, just letting them regress. Though it gives the survivors an opportunity to potentially get them up. But Nia getting found. Nurse realizing that they're going to set up for the hatch escape.
I don't know how he saw that. I don't know if it was luck, but where he blinked, Apply was kneeled down, crouched, hidden away, and probably got the scare of their life as Squirrel takes it. But it looks like he managed to get a draw out of this game unless something magical happens now with Cinnacookie, who hasn't not yet been hooked yet.
Yeah, absolutely. So unless there is a adrenaline, that there will be it. And actually, hold on one second. Ada has not been hooked.
Correct.
So, here's the fun part about this. A bleed out will actually cost them the tie.
Really?
Correct, because they get less points per bleed out, meaning that we'll see less points for the nurse, resulting in a set 3. Iconic needs to get the hook here. If they don't, if another 2 minutes pass before the nurse is able to hook or find the Ada, that's it.
Wow. The time is on. 2 minutes to find Cinnacookie. Can they do the remarkable and stay hidden for 2 minutes?
It's definitely going to be difficult, but at the same time, Nurse kind of does struggle to find survivors on the ground sometimes, as when they're blinking over, sometimes those noises can get muffled, and sometimes those grunts of pain really do matter. And let's see what happens here as Ada is still maneuvering around and staying hidden from this nurse.
Yeah, you'd almost stop blinking, wouldn't you?
I
Just
mean,
so that you could hear.
on one hand, the nurse
wow.
is slower, right? So, like, do you give up that ability to blink and maneuver around the map as efficiently as you can as nurse? Or do you walk around at a slower speed to kind of be a little bit more detailed in your search? But there's the Ada! Only a minute left on the clock, but it does not matter as the nurse has found them. And that will be the final hook of this match, as Iconic is going to pull it out and draw the set, resulting in a match victory in favor of Iconic.
Bravo, what a game. That was incredibly enjoyable to watch. We did say it that Nurse would have that advantage over Blight. Both killers really turned up to the game. It was very close with that overall bleed out, but at the end, a draw. But as you said, the first set was won by Iconic, and a draw makes them progress on. Nasty way to go out, but points are points. And we don't get to see that third set, which I'm pretty disappointed around, Gil. I'm not going to lie, watching these two teams has been very enjoyable.
Oh, absolutely. But don't you worry, I'm sure we'll see more of them for Champions of the Fog Season 6, and qualifiers will be posted shortly. So keep your eyes out and pay attention to the Discord if you haven't already joined. Both over here on Champions of the Fog as well as Pugdom, as Pugdom will be managing their qualifiers for Group B, as Champions of the Fog will be managing our qualifiers for Group A. More information to come on that, but with that being said, that ends Season 5 for Group B. Don't worry though, next weekend we got the season finale with semifinals and finals with Group A, and we got some hell of teams. Everything from Eternal to Eviscerate, I believe, and I'd have to double check the other two off the top of my head, as we got Eviscerate Trauma coming up in... Nope, that is not right. Let's see. So if GA semifinals 1, we got Academy of the Chronicles versus Arctic Wolves in Group A, and then Group A set 2, I don't think these are correct. I get a feeling that these scorecards are not set up correctly, so apologize about that. Either ways, we got some amazing teams for you, and we'll see them next weekend, starting at 12 p.m. CST on Saturday. I believe we are looking at Eviscerate Trauma, Eternal, and Ruby Wolves, I do believe.
Whoever turns up, it's going to be amazing, Gil, so don't worry. I'm looking forward to seeing them games. I just wanted to say a quick thank you to all the team captains and stuff. I know you've got more games in Group A, but being invested in Group B and partnering with Champions of the Fog, with the idea to get more people involved in comp between our two organizations, I think has been amazing. And the fact that we're growing out both of them leagues and having more teams is going to really do comp in general and teams to help them develop. And it's been really good having all these teams and captains and being part of not just working with you, but all of your staff, especially Shelbs and the team getting it running, and Brooklyn and the team from my side. I just want to thank them all and everyone participating just before you move on. So
I
thank you.
appreciate it, and thank you for the partnership as well. It's definitely been a treat, a huge change of pace from our previous seasons, but a good one at that. And we'll be continuing this partnership for Season 6, so definitely keep an eye out as we'll be doing some joint announcements shortly. Make sure to join Pugdom, not only for Season 6 of Champions of the Fog Group B, but for their other events and tournaments. So make sure to stop on by, say hi, drop a follow, and join their Discord too. With that being said, though, that here will end our matches today. Thank you all for joining us, and we will see ya on Saturday, 12 p.m. CST for Group A's semifinals. Bye-bye!
Bye-bye!